Hello, so we're going to go over applying some canvas grids, and I'm sorry, not canvas grids, but CSS grids into our Hocking College bookstore webpage. So first thing we're going to do, which is going to be continuation of what we built here. This is the mock-up I did earlier, so I'm going to go over that mock-up so you can replicate it. So what we left off on whenever we last left Figma is we had something like this. Okay. But we're going to start playing with some like I said, applying some CSS grids on here, and having this visual of not necessarily the content details, but the content structure is going to help. So let's go ahead and create something for that. Let's go ahead and select a frame. Another nice thing about CSS grid, it has some responsiveness built into it, so it'll adjust based off the screen size. So let's see, somewhere it'll tell me some stuff.
After did her dishes, I cleaned up the kitchen, and then tile floor, and even did up her stairs with it while she talked to a friend. I
think that's under prototype. Show prototype settings. And then it's going to select the iPad Pro again. Okay, I can't find what I'm looking for, but we'll go ahead and continue on, because again, it's just like the outline of the structure and there's responsiveness built into it, so I'm not terribly worried about the screen size. Was looking for something, there's a list that shows you like the dimensions, and I was going to customize it, the width and the height, but I can't locate it right now, so we're just going to leave that alone and just work on the structure of it. So you saw I have here the green, the two navs. One's green, one is this white one. I just put that X in there, so it's because it's white. So it's going to click the rectangle. And make this green. And then I'm going to make another rectangle. Make this white. And I'm going to add the lines in it, just because it's white. There we go.
Yeah, I told her it helps suppose if you had passed. Yeah, I had her dishes.
Okay.
I told her I had to cut.
So next is the blue heading, and this is mine, and I've said it time and time again, I'm not a designer, so mine's going to look ugly. You do better than me. So we got head banner. And actually what I did before we get into that, I started with here, because I wanted to figure out how many items I was going to have for the grid. So let's do that first, because that's going to be the content. So let's make a rectangle.
Oh yeah, you're good at that.
And what I did was play around with it to determine how many columns I wanted, and I decided I wanted 3 columns. Hit Control C, Control V.
Is she herself OCD, but she's also ADHD. I'm like, oh, you got the double portion.
Now for this is just kind of like a sketching of us what we're wanting to do. It does not have to be exact. So if you used any of the code from the last time we did Figma, we're not going to be doing that. You might grab the color, but that's pretty much it. It's just so us can sketch out what we're doing as we try to work out on the grid.
She heard Greg said, "Mom, she knows to get this if you do this." She said, "I guess Haley doesn't upstairs." And, she said, "Hey, what do you do?"
Okay. So I decided that I wanted 3 columns on this particular grid, and I was kind of letting everything else be similar to that. I let this be the deciding factor of how many columns I wanted to cross. It doesn't have to be that way, it's just the way that I was doing it. So because I have 3, I'm going to go ahead and since I know I have 3, I'm going to go ahead and do this header. I'm going to change the color to give me some reference of what I'm doing. Oopsie, design. And then I'm going to Control C, Control V. Oopsie. Shoot, it did not hit what I wanted to hit, did I?
I have my lucky shirts that should throw out if they're tattered in bad shape.
Control Z to undo whatever I just did. Control C, Control V.
I know the rifter
and
warehouse. Public, but that's my
don't want that in there. There should only be 3 columns. I want this to be orange. So now let's do some more lines just to give us our columns. And again, this is nothing more than a visual. Control C, Control V.
When I was growing up back there, my mom thought it was funny. She cleaned my room once. And I was back there yelling, I couldn't find anything. And she thought that was funny. So I thought, okay, you can play this game. Dad had his
Control C, Control V.
And I looked underneath that.
Okay. And so what I had here, I gave everything name, and we'll see the reason for the names when we start playing with areas on the CSS grid. So I gave head banner. Each of these columns have a class name. It's going to have a class name of head banner or something like that.
It didn't matter what product was. I put all the big bottles back, bottles up front, but you really see what everything was. I was like, yeah, you don't like it now, do you? Yeah. But see, I knew something was here.
Control C, Control V.
Would it be nice?
Control C, Control V.
You know, the little eardrop stuff down there, the hairspray to the back. I had everything. I had fun. I had lots of fun.
So what this is eventually going to look like is something like it has a grid right here. So my first column gives technology clothing. So I'm going to put category. So if you see here, I put category.
I was back there in the bathroom, or bedroom, with pillows,
I get it.
I was a teenager, but I'm like, man, I'm still going to get you for this.
Control C, Control V. Control C, Control V. And this is going to be the images, the next 2 columns. Someone's going to have Control C, Control V.
It's actually pretty good.
Image.
I don't want
Control C, Control V.
I don't want any royalties.
Control C, Control V.
Get the
Control C, Control V.
And then this concoction, that'll be
Control C,
fine.
Control V,
No, I'll probably take all the credit. I'll say
Control C, Control V. There we go.
Go make this up and try it.
And then the
Seriously.
footer banner.
I don't like sending them.
Control C, Control V, and move that down here. Foot banner. Control C, Control V,
Routine. Hey, it's still mine.
Control C, Control V. Okay. So this is going to be kind of the layout that we're going with. So let's go into CSS grids. I'm going to pause this while I get my file set
Take care,
up.
Greg. Take care, Lori. And Tasha. Take care.
Okay, so you see the name that we have right here, and I open up a new HTML file. And what I did, I copied the head, make sure I got all the styling, which included the CSS pages and the bootstrap and everything else that we've been playing with to create the page for. Why is my closing head not working? Oh. Oh, I think same way. Okay. There we go. So my recommendation is just go ahead and copy from what the webpage that you've already been working on. That was a product of the wireframe from a couple weeks ago. And just to make sure you got all the CSS files and all of that stuff. So what we're going, the way I did this, and back into W3 schools, we're in the grid items, CSS grid. We've already done a little bit of review on grids. And I didn't do a review on the areas in the grid area. You can, review this. It does a really good job of explaining it. So, but basically you can name each section. And we'll go over that here shortly in the example. And then you can name each section of what you want, and then you would call upon it, saying the grid area item 1 is going to be anywhere there's a grid area of header. So that would be all the top row here. And us having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 headers indicates it's 6 columns long. So when you hit try it yourself, it opens up this window, and you can see it's 6 columns long, and the whole thing is header. So what I did, like I've done for a lot of the CSS grid stuff, is just Control C and go into my style, Control V. The naming format's generic enough that it works. And so it works for our purposes here. So I'm actually going to have 3 different grid containers to replicate this. Again, I know this is not pretty, but we already had that discussion. And the one grid container is going to be this particular row right here. Let me actually open this up in Firefox so later. Open this up in Firefox so you can see what it did. So this is the header container. You can see it's got the name of header container. And you can see it's got 1 column, 2 column, 3 column, and 4 columns. And one bigger column has the content right there. And I put the little logo, Hawking College Hawks logo, and it's compressed into 3 different columns. It goes across. So let's work on that first. Okay, so here's the new one. So I'm actually going to just have them some sequential order, like the header on top. I'm going to move that down. And I'm going to copy this again, the grid container, paste it up here. I'm going to put header grid container. Do some camel casing in there. And it's just going to be one line, because remember, it's just one row. So I'm just going to take out all of that. And okay with header being the content, but I just want one. And there was 3 things for logo. So logo. You can make it 1 or 2 or more. It doesn't matter. That's just how I did it. And make sure you have single quotes around it, and then you close it with the semicolon per norm. And go ahead and save that. Now we need the actual items as well. So they have this all in one line, which is not something that we played with a lot, but there's no difference between one line version and then this version that we'll be more accustomed to seeing. Something like that. It's the exact same thing. It's just the browser doesn't read it any different. It's just the preference on the developer. I like more like this format. So I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to leave it named item 1. That's fine for me. Header is good. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that. And let's comment some stuff here. For the top banner of the web page. For the grid of contents on the web page. And then for the footer banner on the web page. And let's see, what else do we got here? So let's put some content on here. So we're going down to create the body. And let's go ahead and put the div class of header. What was it? Header grid container. Because we need to have the container for our CSS grid.
Don't talk about religion, please.
What was it called again?
Religion is there.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm.
Header grid container. Okay. There we go. Now we need the div class for the individual item 1. Actually, because there's more than one item 1. Item 1 header. And Hocking College Bookstore, or whatever it's called. So let's see where we're at now. It's this one right here. Nope, it's not. I don't think I've gotten this open in live server yet. Okay. Oh, I forgot to copy the nav stuff. We'll do that here shortly. But you can see it's blue. It's across the top. And haven't added any styling to it yet. let's open it up in here. Not that one. This one, have to refresh it. And Control-Shift-I. Okay, you can see it's got 1 column, 2 column, 4 columns, 1 bigger, 2 smaller. There's no content in it yet, and we need to add some styling. So I'm going to pause on this in just a second. Okay, so let's add some styling to this header. Okay. Font size, I don't know, 50 pixels. Let's do a little bit of padding around it. 2%. There we go. Color white. And I want that shadow effect that I had on here. So I'm going to go back to Figma and I am going to copy this. The code for not necessarily the positions of it, but like the font family and that kind of stuff right here. Let's copy all of that and see what it looks like. Family. Oh, hold on. Okay, copy the wrong thing. This is what I need to copy. Make sure you've got this code and not the table. Here we go. Let's see what it looks like now. Not that one. This one. Okay, that looks better. It's got a border around it. Don't necessarily want that border. And delete that. There we go. So it looks like that. And if I do check out the responsiveness in it, you'll see that automatically wraps. And if I check this out in Firefox, have to refresh it in here in Firefox, you can see that it automatically wraps still. And so it's at a certain breakpoint that it'll start wrapping. Okay, which is nice. It's some responsiveness that you don't have to build into it.
Oh, no problem.
So now what we're going to do is put the stuff on top, the navs that I forgot to do. So let's go back in here. Wherever your navs are for the page that you was already building from the wireframe. Mine is in here.
I can deliver it to you. I do deliver it to you.
And let's see, go ahead and copy all of that nav stuff. I think that's where I want it.
Okay, do you want a hot, iced, or a frappe?
So after the opening body tag,
All right. Yes. Oh,
copy that nav stuff in there.
Okay.
Let's see
Okay.
what it looks like
Just give me a
now.
couple minutes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so it's got the nav stuff in there now. Now my images are not in the right folder structure, so I have to change that. And it looks like I need to close something. Let's see, but I need to close. I don't want to close the body. For some reason, it's right there. It's like it's stuck. So there's an open tag somewhere. If I take out that closing div. What does it do? It moved it, didn't really help. Let's see where things are going wrong here. So I got the green nav bar. I don't think that's giving me the issue. Where's that closing nav tag? Okay, right there. Okay, so that's closed. I don't see an opening nav tag here. Which may or may not be an issue. Let's see what happens when I put an opening nav. Did something. Somewhere there's a tag that's making this not do what I want it to do. See if I take out that nav and I just put in and take out this closing one that didn't have an opening. Nope, still didn't do it. Go ahead and put this back in. Well, maybe this might be fine. Let me look at it again. Let me see what my code looks like. See, this is what I've got right now. The containers are grid. Let's see if I take out this. Nope. Nope. Let's move on and see if I can figure that out later.
Yes, you can. Butterbeer okay. I just made one.
Hold on, let me try something. So that looks fine. Let's move on. Well, we'll consider that cleanup work. Okay, so now we're in the middle area that's going to have more of the contents. And I'm going to keep this in line again just because all the other ones are. Okay. So let's go back to our wireframe. So we got category, image, image, category, image, image, category, image, image. So so this is gonna take out the header because we're not using that. So it would be category, and I put numbers on here, category 1, image 1, 1, image 1, 2. Okay, it looks like 11 and 12, but that's category. That's the number 1 is based off the category 1, and it's the first image. Category 1, second image. And let's see. So make sure you put surrounding quote around that. And we're going to mimic that. So I'm just going to. Okay, change this to 2, image 2, 1, image 2, 2, category 3, image 3, 1, image 3, 2. Okay.
Alice, are you hungry? Or you come back later?
Yeah, cause I gotta go. Cause I'm gonna go drop some old bandanas and stuff off to my aunt because she makes masks, like old face masks.
I'll copy this down there. It's got the actual items.
That is the sanitizer that actually kills.
And put it down.
Yeah.
Let's close out some of this.
So keep it wet. Keep it wet. Just it's longer. It's on your hands. It kills. I do it after every time somebody hits me on my hands.
So the gray container, I think, was what I left it at. So item 1. Item 1. If I scroll up here, item 1, the class is header, but for us, it should be category 1.
Working with foods like dishes and stuff, you gotta make sure it's really sterilized from people that might have pep and stuff.
And then I'm just going to go in sequential order. Category 1, image 1, 1, image 12, 1, 2.
As soon as you leave, everything will get done. We do very well with it. Yeah.
Category 2, image 2, 1.
We can do a nitro coffee, which is really strong.
Copy and paste this a few times.
We do nitro coffee now
And image 2,
She
2.
loved it. She came back and got no one say.
Make sure you update these cat item numbers. 6,
All right. Thank you guys so much. You're welcome. You have a good day.
7,
I'm gonna go wipe off the floor.
8, 9,
Yeah, I'll try to
10.
put This is anything you videos and stuff that you see, this young lady is joining my.
Hello. Category
Yes, you wipe everything down.
3,
So thank you.
image
Thank you.
3, 1,
Well,
image 3, 2. I think that's all. So I'm going to take out that last one. And item 1. So what this is actually going to say is gifts. And what you can do, which is what I did, instead of having to download images and whatnot, just got to go to the gifts in the bookstore, find something, right click on it, copy image address, and image source equals quotes. Let's see what it looks like now. Okay.
hey, handsome.
Then, so I'm going to do the same thing here, is replace main with image source equals that. And whenever you refresh the page, you see that the main actually goes down. Well, the main goes away because I don't want main. But You can see there's a row for gifts, and I got a couple gift items in there. So we're going to repeat that with clothing. Item 4 is fine. Clothing, so find some clothing in here. Shit. Let's see. Refresh it. There we go. And I'm just going to copy this. Yeah. And paste that and find another clothing item. Copy image address. Paste that. Refresh it. Oopsie. And because I need to change the item number. They're both item 5. One needs to be item 6. Refresh it. There we go. So, I'm just going to leave it at 2. You guys, but you see the pattern there. And now we're going to do the footer. So let's go ahead and do the div. Let's see. Did I create it yet? No. Okay. So for the footer, it's going to be very similar to the header. So let's go ahead and copy the header stuff we got. Control C. Go to where we got for the marked off for the footer. And then we're going to change where it says header to footer. And so for this, we want footer. Let's do one footer and one logo. I'm going to change this to orange. I don't remember the hex for the orange for hawking, but we're just going to make it orange and pretend that's right. And I'm actually going to copy for where we got the header content and make that footer content. Check out new items daily, something like that. Let's see what it looks like now. Okay. So that's not terrible. I mean, it's this. I still don't know why this is going to the side. I need to figure that out. There's something in there that's making it do that. For the image, I need to find the image. So instead of, actually the image is in here. I just need to copy and paste it into where it needs to go so we can find it. It's already in that folder. I just need to put it in the right directory. What you got? Oh, you don't have to do that.
No, I cut it
Okay.
and I ate. And I don't eat sweets like that. So
I do.
good.
You want to have to throw it out. That's
Thank
why I
you.
cut it off instead.
Thank you. And let's see. So where's my images? There it is. Okay, there's my logo. Still don't know why this is off center like that though. There's something that's messing up. So I'm gonna pause this while I try to figure out what's messing up here. Okay, I can't find the error, and it's not worth keep looking for. I got it to work there. I don't know where I got something. My best guess is I got a tag that's not open or closed correctly. And but the basic purpose of this grid is intact. So let's get some additional styling to it. Let's see, because I mentioned like adding a logo. So let's go ahead and add that logo. Word wrap this, or what's it already word wrap? There we go.
They're only $1 a piece.
And so there's the header content.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so
Okay, I've got 8.
I want to add the logo. So I'm going to copy this. And item 1 header is going to be item 2 header. And it's going to be the mascot. And I'll find the mascot image just a second. I'm going to go ahead and declare that class up here. Okay. We'll go ahead and create that class up here. Give it some styling. It's with the grid area. That's the first thing I need to do because it's going to be logo. So everywhere there's like a logo, it's going to have the logo is going to be spread out on that. So let's go find the logo. Hocking College mascot. This one was like a very long URL. Let me see if I can find another one.
That is everything except for something there. One.
Okay. Yeah, so put it in the microwave, okay?
I'm not seeing one. Let's just gonna use this one.
You take care.
You too.
So copy image
Drive
address.
safe. Oh, man, I tell people it's hard to do out here.
And then, so in the header, image source equals, and then, like I said, that's a very long file name, but whatever, it works. Very long. And so whenever I open this back up in Firefox, you can see the logos in there. And if I open up and inspect the grid, you can see there's the content of the Hocking College bookstore and the size of the logo is spread out across those three. Now it's a JPEG and not a PNG, so those are things that you can customize if you want some sort of other customization in it. And the expectation is for you not to mimic this because this is ugly. You know, you guys could do better than me on this. But it's the structure of it, of what I'm focusing on right now. So I want to add some white space in between the grid and the Hocking College bookstore header area. And so I want to go to the container. Yeah, the container. And I want to put margin bottom. It's going to do % of 2%, not 20. 2%. And refresh it. Okay, so it's got a little bit of a gap there, which is what I wanted, a little bit of margin. Same thing for between this orange area and the bottom of this grid. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm in the grid container for the contents of it. And I'm going to paste that. Oops, what did I copy and paste? Just want this. I'm going to refresh this. Okay. So that looks fine. This is a little off kilter. It's not centered, so I might need to choose something with that. Oh, it's because I had, shoot, I forgot about that. So if you look in here in the footer, it's centered here for the cell that it's in regards to the grid. I forgot I had three rows here that are divided for something else. So this is centered in the particular grid area that I have. So let's go ahead and put something in there. So we are going down to, let's see. So item 1 footers, check out new items daily. Let's see. So you can navigate quicker if you on this side. I don't know if you guys have seen that yet or not, but you can navigate up and down a little bit quicker up here. I kind of forget about it until I remember it. So for the footer area, item 1 footer. This would probably be easier if I just had a separate CSS page for this, but I'm not. And okay, so this needs to be fixed anyways. So because I just copied this from the header area and I haven't updated it for what our purposes were yet. So the templates areas that I have is footer and logo. So this I want to be the footer area, so it's going to have the context, the content of the words or whatever. And I'll leave the styling the same. And I'm actually going to make that item 2. Hold on, let me think. Logo, footer. Let's put it that way and see what it does. I'm trying to think of sequential order. I'm trying to remember what I had in mind. No, actually, I think I want the logo to be on the right-hand side. So let's do footer, logo. And going to just copy what I did for the header. Copy. Paste it down here, name this back to 1. Name this 2, grid area logo, that's fine. Okay, let's see what it looks like. So div class equals item 2 footer and image source equals, I'm gonna just use the Hawking College logo, so it's images. I think so. I think it's in images. It's not making it easy for me. Images, and then that's what I want. I'm missing something. Okay, so hit refresh on this. Okay, I need to resize that image. So I can do it in here as an attribute in here with 40 height equals 40. Let's see. Do background color. I don't know if I want to change the background color on that or not. Let's go ahead and do that. Style. Background color, white. I didn't do it. Oh. Wrong spot. Try this. I made that background color white. So I want the whole cell to be, cell, the grid area to be, so I want it to be white. So I'm gonna go back up here. Find the footer. Oops, did I not rename this? Nope, I didn't. No wonder it's not doing it. Go ahead, put the background color of white. Refresh it. Okay, now it's all white. It's still, so let's change the size of this to make it 100. Let's see what happens when I do 100 by 100. Refresh it. Okay, maybe a little bit better. Let's change the item footer from the font size from 50 pixels to 30. Refresh it. Why is it not changing? Do 10. Is it changing? Nope, it's not changing. Something's not changing. Okay, item 1 footer. Well, it's not letting it change. Item 1 footer. Da, da, da. Oh, I got font size on here twice. I think that's when I copied and pasted some stuff, maybe. Okay, so okay. I wouldn't say it's good, but it's done. No, it's, yeah. So that's a few ways you can play with grid. And what's nice about grid, you know, again, not a designer, so this is not my forte, but the layout's there. And what's nice about grid is like whenever you can do, if your screen goes down to a smaller size, it has some responsiveness to a certain point. And then we'll be playing with more responsiveness later with SAS and stuff. But let's look at it on Chrome. It's got some responsiveness. Like the Hawking College bookstore, you can see those words, they wrap. Not really sure what anything else can do. You have to kind of customize it. This bottom area, the footer area, don't know if it's wrapping or not. I don't think so. But there's some responsiveness that's kind of built in with, and you don't have to worry about using floats and the exact placement because, and where things are going to move to, which is nice. Because sometimes if you don't use the structured item like grid, then sometimes things will move into areas that you don't necessarily want it to go and it'll look all quirky. Now this still looks quirky, but the structure is going to be there. I just need to do more better on the design of the structure. But this is how you can, I want you to, these are some ways that you can implement CSS grid into your Hawking College webpage for the bookstore. And I'll make another video on the exact specifics of the assignment.